Soulmates, welcome to your Tuesday conversation right here on FOXSOUL's Black Report. Before this young, amazing man introduces himself, let me tell you, we're following the lawsuit from a white student against Howard University. That's an historic HBCU. And also, we'll talk a bit about the award Offset is receiving from the Black Caucus. Want to welcome you again to FOXSOUL's Black Report. I'm Courtney Hicks.
And I'm Lee Thomas. Happy to be filling in for Nicorda Corte, and happy to be sitting next to you, my lady.
Amazing. We finally made it happen.
We made it happen.
You know, Lee's taking the day off, and you're here. We appreciate you, and you do amazing work here
Thank you.
at the Fox 2 affiliate
Yes.
here in Detroit. And talk really briefly about the stripes that you have as a film critic.
Oh yeah, I've been a movie critic with the Critics' Choice Association for years,
Yeah.
and also with the African American Film Critics Association, the Detroit Film Critics. So I've been covering movies for a very, very long time. If there's somebody that you've seen in a movie, I've probably talked to them or their dad and them at some point.
I can't wait to talk to you a little bit later on
Good.
about some films that are coming out.
Good.
Yeah.
Also, we have to talk about the latest project from T.D. Jakes.
You better preach it.
And I'm saying his name like that almost every
now.
time. T.D. Jakes. He's starting more than a Community. We'll talk about that. Plus, my forte, movies. Michael B. Jordan, Creed 3. Is it what you want it to be?
Wow.
Okay? We'll talk about the impact on our people. And it's the third film in the franchise.
I was going to say,
he's the director.
And it's been so interesting to watch him go, you know, from up to a list actor. That's been a good ride. All right, you know, it's all about our news, our views, and our voice. So let's get into the top conversation for today. There's a white student that is suing Howard University, the Mecca, for $2 million after claiming he suffered from racial discrimination while attending the university's law school. Michael Newman was a law school student at Howard in 2020 and was expelled in September of 2022. Now, while there, the lawsuit claims Newman suffered depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts due to public ostracism, vilification, and humiliation. He specifically named Howard's global head of diversity recruiting in the lawsuit, saying he told Newman he allegedly was the most hated student he had seen during his tenure at the university. What a claim there. I'm just hoping that someone of that stature and holds that office would never say anything like that to a student. And it'll be interesting to see how this case plays out. It's like a reversal kind of thing going on. I know that from my understanding, you know, a white student at a historically black college would be considered a minority. And so they benefit, no different from how sometimes black students benefit at predominantly white institutions. But if these claims are true, that's not a good look for somebody of that stature, hold that office, to say something like that to a student, no matter the color.
But absolutely, you can't call a student out, or you should not call a student out. But there are claims of what that young man said, not only in class but also online. So I think everybody has to be accountable for what they say. Also, if you're a white student at a predominantly black university, you've got to know that you're going to be the ones that's different. So if you start having some outburst of some kind of commentary that isn't against the grain, I've got to think you're doing that on purpose. And a lot of people are looking for attention and a payday, and he's asking for $2 million.
Yeah, and but you
$2 million in a lawsuit.
And to your point, but you got to know if you start acting up on the other side of this argument that they're going to come for you. I mean,
they are.
I mean, whether it be students, you know, maybe this faculty member, whether it be out of line, you know, a bit out of line in regards to how he handled it.
Yeah.
You start acting up, they're going to come for you, especially in this day and age we're living in now.
I'll say this and I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
We are talking about the Black Harvard, and he's suing the law school, a building full of lawyers.
The Mecca.
Do what you got to do. All right. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, they held a Black History Month event at the White House this week. But it's the president's comments about Black Greek life that has many people heated. Now, the president was speaking following Representative Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, and he referred to the Divine Nine. He said a couple of other things. Take a listen.
You know, I know real power when I see it, the Divine Nine. We're honored to have presidents, all the presidents here tonight, and I want to thank him. And by the way, you know, I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid. I know where the power is. I know where you think I'm joking. I learned a long time ago about the Divine Nine. That's why I spent so much time at Delaware State campaigning and organizing my campaign in Delaware.
Oh, he took it there.
I know you got to read the prompter right now, but your mouth fell open when he said that. Go ahead.
You know what? They used to have to hold Joe back.
All right.
You know, back in the Obama days. Listen, also invited to the historical event was our general manager of FOXSOUL. There you see him right there, looking all dapper. James Dubose. He was there with Lonnie Love, who stopped by and spent some time with us not too long ago here in Detroit.
He did.
And many more stopped by to show their support with President Biden's efforts. A lot of notable figures in the community. It looked like a grand affair.
It looked like a grand affair, and I hope that a grand affair like this, and the president went on to say that all of the presidents of the Divine Nine, talking about all the black fraternities and sororities of the Panhellenic Council, of which I'm a Kappa, all of them, the presidents were in that room. So I understand, but I hope his comment doesn't overshadow the event. You know what I mean?
You know, he can have some loose lifts every now and then. A bit of a renegade. I remember a lot of his rhetoric while he was vice president, and sometimes Obama had to reel him back in a little bit. But I think the intention is real. I think the intention is pure. And let's keep it real. He's right. Not just the Divine Nine, but the entire black community. That's why he's playing catch up with these promises. Look, the stroll to the polls and how we got those folks in to make sure that he got in that White House. So, you know, listen, you might not have liked the delivery, but I think the message was, it was full of good intention.
It was full of good intention. It was part of a bigger event. But when the president says a comment like that, you do take pause. I was watching you because I watched it twice myself beforehand, and your mouth fell open, and so did mine. And then the other part you do, like we all do. You lean in to see where you going with that, Prez. Where you going with that?
But I think, as we always say, at the end of the day, would you invite him to the barbecue?
Absolutely.
Can he come to the barbecue,
Absolutely.
Lee?
As long as he brings his buddy Barack.
That's right. I know that's right. My Kappa brother.
Yes, he's invited.
All right.
Yes.
Moving on here, Stephen Benjamin, the former mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, will be the new senior advisor and director of the Office of Public Engagement. That's it. Now, Mayor Benjamin will replace Keisha Lance Bottom, familiar name there. Benjamin previously served as Columbia's mayor from 2010 to 2021 and currently sits as the CEO and president of the Benjamin firm. Now, as mayor, he served as the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors from 2018 to 2019 and the president of the African American Mayors Association from 2015 to 2016.
You know, when I hear these big titles, and I went to the script because it says the senior advisor and director of the Office of Public Engagement.
Like, what do you really do?
I'm just a dude. Like, what do you do? When you go to your office and you sit at your desk, you pick up the phone, what do you do? And I know they do a lot. It's all about public engagements. It's all about face forward for the administration. And it's good to see an African American was in the position, an African American is in the position.
Yeah. But what do we always say? It looks good on that resume.
It does look great on the resume.
But what do you really do?
What do you do? What do you do? We'll have to find out. I'm sure he's going to do a lot for the administration and for the country.
Yeah, congrats for him.
There's a new panel in Massachusetts that will advise the state administration on ways to help support empowerment efforts in the black community. Now, the panel will offer guidance on issues related to economic prosperity and well-being, of course, of the black community, including education, healthcare, housing, workforce development. That all sounds fantastic. Now, the 33-member Governor's Advisory Council on Black Empowerment held its first closed-door meeting this week and says the administration has been incredibly intentional, that's in quotes, about building a diverse team within the Massachusetts State House, as well as putting people in from outside, putting people in front that are from outside. So I'm sorry, Courtney, I'm old school.
What?
I always sit back and go, that sounds great, much like that title. Because everybody is in the position, after everything that's happened in our country for the last 3 years, everybody's in the position to do something.
But then what are you saying? Like, where's the beef? Where's the proof in the pudding?
After they open the door, it's the first closed door meeting. Open the door and let us know what you're going to do.
You know, it's always a matter, a lot of times, of execution, because the talk sounds good. What we read on paper sounds good, but it's about, you know, the process and getting from point A to point B, and not only getting from point A to point B, but yielding the results that you're promising, or yielding the results that people are expecting for you to yield as the person that they put in office. I'm just excited to see some of the diversity in that Massachusetts State House. You know, I want them to keep pushing in that direction as well.
And you know what else I like that they're doing? They're inviting people in the room.
Yeah.
They're not just going, let's get it together and help them. Because you have to talk to the people that you're intending to help.
That's right, that these policies and laws are going to affect.
You have to integrate them into the policies.
That's right.
So that once you get to that implementation stage, then it actually works for them. They've already agreed they were part of the process, because a lot of times when administrators decide they want to help, they go, you need this, you need that, you need this. And people don't accept the help. So you've got to include them in the process.
And listen to the entire conversation, because even though you might not agree with their stance or how they're postured in a particular situation or particular law or policy, it's still good to take it all in and then make a decision as to how to go forth. So you have this inclusive kind of energy, and everybody feels as though they've been heard. I think that's most important.
You know what
people want to feel heard.
Well? They need to go ahead and either watch the Black Report or give us a shout.
Listen,
we can give them some advice.
You trying to get on the payroll here.
What?
A judge has given
extra money don't hurt.
I know. Especially you got a teenage daughter just starting high school, right? I know, right? A judge has given Marriott Hotels a deadline to provide video that alleges misconduct of NFL Hall of Famer Michael Irvin.
May I?
Yes.
All right, back to you.
This all comes after the NFL Network pulled Irvin for his Super Bowl shows after the alleged incident in the Marriott Hotel lobby. Irvin allegedly had an encounter with a woman. He says it was nothing more than a handshake.
Courtney, may I?
Yes. But she disagrees. He says he'd been out, you know, it was Sunday night, you know, all the fanfare, a little drinking, cocktails with former teammates, and then returned to the hotel. Irvin says he didn't even remember meeting this particular woman until later, when somebody from the network informed him that he needed to move to a different hotel because of the incident. And even if Irvin is telling the truth, his past is so checkered.
Yes.
I don't know if people want to believe him. Sometimes maybe you're hesitant because of his past. And I think that's unfortunate, because you should be able to rebound, huh?
And I don't know what to think on this, because I agree. He does have a past. He's an NFL player. You can
Very
Google
checkered.
it pops right
He's
up.
a great. Now,
He's
on
a
the
great
field,
player, Hall of Famer,
man,
all of
listen.
that. But you know what he also did that gave me pause? He, against his lawyer's advice, went online to social media and commented, talking about, this is where we were, this is what we did, I walked down to the room, she was there, shake the hand, I need to. Sometimes. You got to listen to your counsel.
And let it play out.
And let it play out. Because I'm watching that thinking, is he saying this because he wants me to believe him? Or is he saying this because it's the truth? And that is where it gets dicey. Let the court handle the thing. Talk in court, talk through your lawyer until it's time to speak. I know maybe he was honestly trying to get out in front of it, but man, I don't know if it was a good look or not, honestly.
I want to think that he's, you know, turned his life around. We've of course see him continue to, you know, grow and progress. We mentioned T.D. Jakes earlier, who we have a story on, and he's always in that audience in the front row, you know, getting that word in. So I want to believe that his life has turned around, but then incidents like this pop up, you know.
May I one more time, like my grandma used to? I'm done. The last year has proven tough for the Migos members, Offset as well, but one of the group is being recognized for his contributions to the culture. Now this week, the rapper was gifted with the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus Legacy in Hip Hop Award.
Wow.
And the 2023 annual Heritage Dinner is where they gave it to him. The Heritage Dinner was created by Georgia's business leaders and community activists who recognized Offset for his annual toy giveaway in Georgia. I love that. And this past year, at his most recent toy drive, Offset received a key to the county.
Yeah, and you gotta love the sexy B-roll here, right?
I didn't notice that at all. I
did.
You know what? I didn't see Cardi B wearing yellow. I didn't see none of that. I was focused on reading.
Yeah. What I love about when we talk about rappers, you know, a lot of times you know their background. A lot of times they're from very difficult situations, family life, life in the streets, and so there's that debate: does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? But when they get to a position to whereas they can give back and they know they have a lot of eyes on them and they are huge influencers, it's good to see that aside from that they do know that, you know, doing good in the hood is necessary, and you got to show up in that way as well.
And it also feeds the soul as well. Not only the soul of the hood, but also him. Letting him that he's representing so many people, and he comes back to those people and gives back. I think it's one of the utmost important things to do.
I do.
If you mean it or not, just do it.
And I'm hoping this really contributes to maybe his healing. You know, sometimes you have to, you know, move outside of yourself in order to, you know, bring some of those feelings of healing and to be able to move on from such a tragic loss like that. So when your getting is in your giving. So if it's healing that he needs, keep giving. And I feel like he'll get that healing energy back.
Well spoken.
Especially from his fans.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well spoken.
Indeed.
Well spoken.
All right, coming up, he's going from comedy to the campaign trail.
Yes, indeed. When we return, actor and comedian Red Grant will stop by to discuss his efforts to better DC schools. Do not go anywhere. Fox Soul's Black Report rolls on.
And we want to welcome you back to Fox Soul's Black Report. Our guest is not only a DC-based humanitarian, but also an entertainer with a career spanning over 3 decades in film, comedy, entertainment. His infectious laughter and unrelenting work ethic have brought joy to audiences all over the world. I want you to welcome to the show, Rodney Red Grant. Hello, Red.
How you doing, sis? How you been?
I'm good. It's good to see you. I remember you from my DC days. I was with Magic 102.3, used to come and check you out all the time. And so what I want to start off with is in 2022, you entered the world of politics. You have always been, excuse me if I offend, a fool on the stage, okay? But then you went from that to running for mayor of DC as an independent. So tell us, you know, about this shift and this historic campaign, this undertaking.
Well, it's a lot of smart fools out there, I guess. Well, and I would say back in 2019, I decided to run for mayor of Washington, D.C. I was called to run for mayor, spoke to my wife and my kids, and they were in. I was coming back and forth to Washington, D.C., and a lot of my neighbors and friends were asking me to run for office, and I didn't know which office I would run for. So we spoke about it. I talked to a few people, and I really got involved with the community. Started a lot of community-based groups like Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras, which helps young people learn filmmaking from thought to theater and beyond your block. And I really engulfed myself into my community and started seeing a lot of the things that were going on in the community. Me having a background in business, working for Viacom for so many years, producing television, I decided to run as an executive office of mayor. A lot of people got behind this movement, and in 2000, I would say 21, we kicked it off, and you know, we had a successful run at mayor, getting over 100,000 votes in the city of Washington, D.C. as an independent. And it's never been done. I made history.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm so happy that so many people got behind this movement, because we are definitely dealing with something in our societies right now that is off, and we need to get back on. And we need to really keep our politicians in line, because they are lying a lot to the public and misleading them as leaders. And I'm in the movement to make sure they have the proper leaders in place and I'm going to continue to push that movement.
Yeah, so, you know, being a comedian, being out in the community, well-known name, especially in the DMV, you know, you've had your pulse on the people throughout your career. So when it came to shifting into politics, was there any challenge in maybe a different sector of folks taking you seriously?
Well, I mean, I think it's a challenge in any field when you get into anything new. No one wants anybody that's an outsider in what they've been doing over the years.
Right.
But I think people who really know me as Rodney Red Grant understand how serious I am. People who ever been on any of my film sets or television sets understand how I run a strict program. And, you know, it's not really about me trying to make people understand if I'm serious or not. My work stands for itself, stands on itself, and I'm going to continue to push the envelope. You know, we have so many different people like Dick Gregory, who I look up to, who push the envelopes in society, and you know, we're gonna make sure that people hear what they have to hear and continue to push the envelope.
Indeed, indeed. So we know after you finish up with us here, you're on your way to inspire and work with some youth. You've been impacting the young folks for years with your nonprofit, Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras. Talk a little bit more about that particular lane of work.
Well, I started Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras about 3 years ago in Washington, D.C., in Ward 8, one of the, I would say, forgotten about wards in our city. We have high crime rate, education is suffering, and I wanted to bring something that helped me push through. As you know, I started this whole entertainment business at 19 years old. I was barely old enough to really understand, but you know, when BET gave me an opportunity to produce shows for their network, you know, I jumped at the opportunity, and it showed me so much that I wanted to really teach so many other people, so many young people, because they walk around with their cameras in their hand when I didn't have a camera in my hand.
That's right.
You know,
I take it you Generation X. We didn't have that luxury or that interesting device there, right?
So, you know, it becomes a little bit more simple, but I teach them the base of filmmaking, from thought to theater. They write their own scripts, they shoot their own scripts, they produce their own scripts, they direct the scripts. I teach them executive producing, all of the things, grips and gaffers, all of the things that they will need to make a film. And these young people make the greatest films I've ever seen. And they're short films, but they're very impactful. One was called Gentrification. One was called Social Media, and one was called The Store. So they created 3 different films, and then we pushed those filmmaking skills into the high schools and middle schools in Washington, D.C. And we also pushed it out to Los Angeles, where we worked with people like Matt Barnes came on, Snoop, and we just continue to push this program to help our kids have a vocational education that they can look up to.
And we appreciate you pushing and pushing and pushing. I love the balance here between politician and comedian, and how they, you know, how you've married them, and how they kind of run one and the same. You're on tour now with Cat Williams. You've got some projects in the bag. We appreciate your work with the youth, with the Black Women for Justice, and we want you to continue to tap in, and maybe when you're in our area here in Detroit, come see about us in person. But we thank you for being one of those folks that's getting into good trouble. And thank you for your time today here on Fox Soul's Black Report. Red Grant, and we're looking for some even bigger things coming from you, brother.
And thank you so much. And tomorrow I will be testifying in front of the DC Council on vocational education and bringing vocational education back to Washington, D.C., so we can save so many more lives. And big love to the Black Women for Justice.
That's right.
And the whole Fox So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Red Grant, be easy. We'll talk to you soon.
Easy like Sunday morning.
That's it, baby.
Good energy,
Yeah.
good things.
Yeah.
Good things,
We're
yes
looking
indeed.
forward to seeing more from Mr. Red.
Good job, good job. Still ahead, T.D. Jakes is taking his ministry from the church to the cul-de-sac.
You don't say. We'll tell you about his new housing plan to help those in the community. You are watching Fox Soul's Black Report. Welcome back to Fox Soul's Black Report Soulmates. Lee Thomas in for Nicordelai Corte.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Big time news anchor here in the Detroit area. Legendary. All right.
You're very kind.
You ready for your Bishop T.D. Jakes?
T.D. Jakes!
There we go.
Yeah, let's go.
He's on a mission. The bishop is on a mission to bring affordable homes to Black Americans.
You know, Jakes' real estate ventures plans to provide affordable homes along with mixed income housing and help build grocery stores, hospital. It's really a big development.
It's
now,
great.
In a recent article with The Root, Jakes spoke about the government's failure to bring imperative information about equity and real estate investment trusts and finance to the Black community. He stated, and I quote, "I'm really trying to leverage my entire platform to be a conduit so that we are knowledgeable about what's out there and we are not afraid of what's out there. The information moves away fear." That is the end of the quote. Now, Jakes hopes to build his idea on 95 acres of land, get this, right next to Tyler Perry Studios.
Man,
yes,
listen.
it's going to include townhouses, family homes, apartments, like we said, grocery stores, and much more. So this is much more than financial edification, as they say, or education, as they say. This is building a community, building a network. And I know people talk about that generational wealth. This, to me, is how it begins, because that information can be life-changing.
Yeah. What I love about the bishop, besides tapping in, every Sunday online, is that, in my opinion, he's always had this like forward-thinking, holistic type ministry. It's great. You have the people in the pews, but what happens, outside of the church when they walk out, and it's the Monday through Saturday that they have to deal with. And what I love about this particular mixed-use project, my husband's in construction, it's called mixed use.
Mixed-use, all right, nice.
Mixed use is that, you would think that Tyler Perry and Jakes, these very, successful, wealthy, men of God, would be somewhere in these, even if it was a Black neighborhood, you think it'd be some kind of gorgeous upper middle class Black neighborhood. Tyler Perry's studio is right there. It's not necessarily the hood, but it's right there in the city. It's right there in the heart of Atlanta. And that's exactly where Jakes is going. And so you're going where the need is, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's what I really can appreciate.
Yeah, those are things that really uplift the entire area around. And I think those two men especially understand that.
Yeah.
And it's good that they understand that, because especially in Bishop Jakes' situation, that is part of the mission. And I'm sure Tyler Perry's the same way, but that is part of the mission, is to uplift economically the entire area.
Could you imagine being in a room with them while they're working it out?
Yeah.
Can I just touch the hem of your garment? All that money in there, all that Black
notes.
money.
I'm thinking of something.
Right.
I would love to be
borrow
there.
$20? Right.
20,000.
Right, that's okay. The first Black woman to be in the Secret Service has died. I had no idea. Sandra Flemister leaves behind a rich political career, her fight with Alzheimer's, and a lawsuit that details the widespread racism and discrimination she suffered during her tenure at the federal agency known for protecting presidents. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle said in a statement, quote, "Flemister was a trailblazer and inspired a future generation of agents during her time at the Secret Service." Flemister guarded the families of U.S. Presidents Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter. Flemister's husband of 42 years, John, says that she died due to a respiratory failure that was related to her Alzheimer's fight. And, as we...
Truly a celebration, though. I mean, amazing.
Especially as we, bring Black History Month, to a close, to still unearth incredible folks like her who have, paved the way for others and really deposited into what a woman of color can be and do. Our thoughts and prayers to her family, but what an amazing celebrating life.
What an amazing celebration
That's
of life.
right.
And real quickly, sometimes we forget. It's tough sometimes now. Imagine what she went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's amazing.
Celebration of life.
Yeah.
All right, now former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall will be memorialized at the University of Maryland's newly opened School of Public Policy. Now, the building will bear the name of the civil rights lawyer and former U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Marshall played a key role in breaking down barriers for Black and African American students, including the desegregation of the University of Maryland. Robert C. Orr, Dean of the School of Public Policy there, stated, "There is no better name to bestow on this building than Thurgood Marshall's. Justice Marshall's legacy in dismantling segregation and strengthening voting rights and promoting equal protection for every American is a true inspiration to us all." And Thurgood Marshall, he was the dude to me because he was alone for a long time on the Supreme Court. He was alone as he walked his journey. An amazing man.
That legacy is so unmatched. And, you know, I know his body of work is just, you know, incredible. But what I kind of dial in on when I see him in photographs and video is so dapper.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he had the intelligence, he had the wherewithal and the degrees and things like that. But it was just something back in that day.
Yeah.
Black folks, you know, you not only could be it, but you also had to look it.
You had to.
And I just love how in every moment, even on personal pictures with his family,
clean,
you know,
crisp,
clean,
crisp and clean.
And
yes.
when you tap into pictures back in the day in that era, you see Black folks just walking up and down the street, but they are clean. I mean, heels, pearls, the hats, the suits, and there's just something that's just very prideful in that, and that's what gets me every time I see those pics of him.
And it's a lesson for us all because, you know, you may say what you may say, you may throw sticks and stones, whatever, but you can't
mess with this.
You can't. You know, I'm impervious of that.
Yeah.
I'm unstoppable. I'm
makes
still
me
here.
when I see those
shoulders up, head. He was always like that. That's why he's one of my favorites.
Always. Yeah. All right. NASCAR has announced it is joining forces with Bethune-Cookman University, another historic HBCU, for its new campus lab program. Now, according to NASCAR.com.
You said NASCAR, right?
Yeah.
Good, NASCAR. Sorry, I was just making sure everybody heard. You said NASCAR.
I spent a lot of time in Charlotte. I was always at the NASCAR headquarters, and I see a lot more of us.
Do you really?
I was seeing a lot more of us.
Okay, I take it back. My bad. Go ahead.
So according to NASCAR.com, students who are accepted into the campus labs program, they're going to develop the experience in market aviation. They're going to work with mentors as well as Black employment, resource groups.
Good.
Those who complete the program will get a scholarship prize, and at least one student will get a chance to work at NASCAR in the big diversity internship program. And this program is going to be available to sophomore, juniors, and seniors who major, minor, or have a concentration in business at Bethune-Cookman University and have a demonstrated interest in working in the sports industry.
Real quickly,
this is a good look.
It's a great look. This last Daytona 500 aired on the Fox network. I saw the first African-American pit reporter. Young man did a very good job.
Nice.
And I was amazed because I was like, is he holding a microphone? I was like, okay, NASCAR, I see where you're at. Because NASCAR has been criticized in the past, and they said, we're going to change.
Yeah.
I like the changes that they're making.
But when we continue to talk about stories like this and bring stories like this to the forefront, and then when we take it upon ourselves, I know there's this little erosion going on with AP course study, but when we take it upon ourselves to dig a little deep, there's been color in NASCAR. There's been color in NASCAR. There's a documentary on Netflix or something about a black sports car racer from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
There's been color in hockey, a historic presence in hockey, and you got Howard's lacrosse team beating everybody in Division A, skating, ice skating, things that haven't necessarily traditionally
Howard's
been black,
swim team,
gymnastics. So Listen, we've always been there, and I think, you know, unfortunately, sometimes we have to do a deep dive to see that we've always been there, that there's always been a connection. But that's why, you know, Fox Soul's Black Report is here to remind us that we are here and been here.
Yeah, and it's good to see, because usually when you're in the crowd and you see somebody, like, all right, now you see you. But now so many of us, it's not as big a deal. So that's good to see.
And you know, black folks here in Detroit, we do hockey.
Oh yeah,
we love our Red Wings.
Red Wings on point.
Come on.
Yeah, got to. If you're looking for something to watch to wrap up your Black History Month, check out Major League Baseball's new series. It's called Undeniable, the stories from the Negro Leagues. Now, it's a contemporary storytelling platform to amplify and honor the legacy of the Negro Leagues. Now, Undeniable is MLB's first ever animated series, and its key initiative among several meaningful efforts by Major League Baseball, as well as major and minor league clubs. Now, to celebrate Black History Month, all episodes are airing right now on the MLB app.
Love to see it. Well, we know Black History, even though you know we're wrapping up February. It's a 365 thing.
It is.
And so it's never too late to tap into stories like this, documentaries. I'm a documentary girl. I absolutely love it.
Documentaries are great.
And the story of the Negro Baseball League is just it breaks your heart, but then at the same time it gives you a lot of hope and inspiration just by the way these men persevered.
Yeah, they persevered, and they traveled around and they played to their audience.
Yep.
One of my favorite things about the whole thing, I hope they touch on him as well, Satchel Paige.
My favorite one.
He just is.
My favorite one.
He could have been 80 still playing. Nobody knows how old the man was. He was still throwing it straight over the plate.
Let me tell you, I never had kids, but if girl
name
or
was
boy,
Satchel?
it would have been Satchel.
I love that
girl,
name. I
boy
love
or girl,
that
it
name.
would have been Satchel.
Yes, indeed.
He's one of my faves.
Yes,
I got my
indeed.
little coffee table book of Negro League, and they were just some amazing men.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Good stuff.
Speaking of tapping in, let's tap into what happened on this day in Black history, the year of Michael Jackson. Picture it, Lee Thomas, 1984.
Said I can't dance, so I sing or I won't. I won't because you have the rights to the music.
That's right. We have to pay too much for the music. He won 8 Grammys for his critically acclaimed, commercially successful, one of the best to ever do it, best of all time, still on top of the charts, Thriller, which remains, one of the top grossing albums of all time.
Come on.
Let me take you to one of your sweet spots, Jafar. The nephew, getting ready to film.
Play Michael,
Your thoughts on that? Do you? My hope is that he's truly qualified.
Yes.
You know, and it wasn't based upon the fact that he's blood. I'm hoping that he.
I actually think it enhances the fact that he is, but if he can do it. Now we've seen, and I went and looked and did my little research.
I know you did.
He can sing. He has music videos out where you can see him singing.
Can he act?
And that's the part that I don't know if it matters, because he sounds like him, sings like him a little bit, enough. We've seen other people play Mike, and it was good and bad. Y'all look it up, you don't know what I'm talking about. But I think it's a good thing because he has that immediate connection.
But there seems to be something going on now where that's happening. You got the Black Mafia family. The one of the characters is actually the son of the big man.
Meech, Little Meech is playing Big Meech.
He's doing a good job.
He's doing a great job.
And he looks just like his dad.
Yeah, and I talked to him, and he's honored to be there. He's honored to be playing his father. Yeah, who's still in jail, by the way.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out with nephew playing uncle. Yeah, man. All right, up next, one of my faves. India Arie is making a comeback, but it's not what you might think.
Yeah, we'll tell you all about her musical return when we come back. You are watching Fox Soul's Black Report.
Welcome back, Soulmates. You're watching Fox Soul's Black Report. We have the honor of having none other than Lee Thomas.
Thank you.
I almost said he's a bigwig here in the metropolitan Detroit area. Legendary anchor, film critic, you name it.
You're very kind.
No,
I'll go get that guy you're talking about. He can come sit here and do this.
If we have time before the show is out, I'm going to tell you why he's so
I
iconic.
appreciate you.
All right, the Rocky spinoff franchise Creed is back in the ring in theaters this Friday.
And Michael B. Jordan, now he stars in it. He also directs this third installment, and it's expected to be a knockout at the box office. Take a look.
The higher you get, the harder it gets.
Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson are back for Creed III with Jordan directing.
Went through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of internal struggles and identity crisis. He got to a place where he has a family of his own, which I thought was really was a great thing to show.
The stars have grown up alongside these characters for almost a decade now.
I really feel invited to be sort of a co-author in Bianca's journey, and to that end I feel like I'm always contending with new things as a human and the ability to sort of bring that to Bianca. And then the symmetry between us is always so interesting. On this one, for example, she's transitioned into producing with more vigor, and I've done that in my personal career too.
In the film, Adonis Creed faces his past when a former friend, played by Jonathan Majors, resurfaces after serving time in prison, determined to get in the ring.
I love the whole career of Sylvester Stallone. Creed was my Rocky. As I grew up watching films, when Creed came on screen, I went, oh my goodness. Is this real? And it's being done in such a beautiful, artistic way.
Majors shares parallels he found with boxers and actors in an all-in approach.
Our boxing coach said people fight the way they live. And when that got dropped in, that's when these two worlds went bang.
Yes.
Right? Because you act, I believe people act the way they live. Your tenacity and your audacity on screen parallels the way you are in real life. We're giving a certain part of ourselves. Same with a fighter.
I'm just getting started, little brother.
Oh yeah, it's all about that. It is rated PG-13, Creed III in theaters this Friday. And speaking of Michael B. Jordan, he had an awkward encounter with a former classmate during a red carpet interview. Now that interviewer claimed that they went to school together and called him corny.
No.
Okay, but Michael B. contested her version of those events.
Now listen, although the interview continues smooth, don't nobody call Michael B. Jordan corny. Although the interview continues smoothly, it turns out the interviewer had previously made similar comments on a podcast. Take a listen.
We know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
You're the corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure. No, you did not hear me say. I said we used to make fun of the name.
Okay,
the jury's
if you
still out
said
on that
something,
lead.
as as well, Courtney, interviewing people, if you say something, you got to stand by what you say.
That's right.
If you call the man corny, just say, I said corny, but you're not now.
Yeah.
There's something more you can do than just, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Then she goes on social media and admits to it and doubles down a little bit.
Well, it's her moment.
If you can't say that in his face, then don't say it.
Well, it's her moment, and I think, like you say, stand on it.
Stand on what you say. Maybe he was corny back in the day.
Maybe he was, and she probably did say it. I don't think he just pulled that out of nowhere.
But you can fix it right then and there. You know what I mean? You can say you can fix it right then and there.
But that's what social media allows us not to have to do.
Oh.
Is you can go back and say, well, what I really meant, or what I really, and then by that time, either you're trying to plug into this moment with all that orange hair, or you didn't have the gall to talk to the person right there in that moment.
You know how we do though, Courtney. If you can't say it in my face,
don't say it at all.
There you go.
Real quick, want to get back to Creed, Mr. Movie Critic Extraordinaire.
Oh, yeah. Saw it 2 weeks ago.
Third install. Yeah. He directs. How do you, we know he looks great. He's a great actor. All the ladies love it, and him, Major, all that. But the directing aspect of it, how do you think he did? This is his first go-around.
It is, and you can tell it's a first-time director. He makes some first-time director mistakes. The story is there. The story is solid. I say it's the plot threads that need a better written connection, meaning the storyline behind the daughter, the storyline behind why the daughter is deaf, the storyline behind some of the connections isn't there. I gave it a C+. It's not terrible. It's not terrible by any means. It's a solid film, and I know a lot of people will disagree with my opinion, but hey, I review movies for a living, and I do stand by that opinion.
Why would they let it? I mean, if you feel that there's some mistakes directorially
speaking, he's the director, and he made it the way he wants to make it. He goes very LA at some point too, and I don't know. In the end of the movie is very LA, and I don't know if the rest of the country will go, oh, okay.
Well, some elder director didn't say, son, let's think about doing this a different way before
he and
we
Sylvester Stallone were like done with each other, and Sly said, I'm not even watching the movie. So he should have made amends with him, because Sylvester Stallone
could have guided him a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff.
All right. Let's talk about Howard University.
Let's do it.
And their all-black swim team. They made history during Black History Month by winning the Northeast Conference Men's Swimming and Diving Championship.
Wow.
That's cool. HU, all right,
You
the team, you know, right? The team, the only surviving swim program at an HBCU is striving to increase diversity in aquatics, where Black swimmers account for only, get this, 2% of collegiate athletes.
Wow.
Now the team's coach, Nicholas Askew, believes strong legislation is needed to bring demographic disparities and ensure access to quality education in water safety. Askew went on to emphasize the need for overall support for HBCU athletic programs to ensure their survival.
Wow, what
I
an
love
amazing,
it.
I love it too. What an amazing feat. And somebody saw this coming, like the folks over at Sports Illustrated, because they swim
put 'em on
team
the cover.
graced the
Yeah.
cover of Sports Illustrated. What I love about it
Real
is,
quick, Courtney, they changed the game when it comes to a celebration.
Well, listen,
You know what I'm
you
saying?
ain't never gonna
I've been
see
to a
that.
swim meet before, and it's not like
I
that.
love
it's not like that. So they
You know,
really,
we always gonna bring the flavor.
they really changed it.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing, and I think they're making other people want to swim. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. What I find the goodness in this is that we need to continue to preach and practice water safety. We are the ones drowning out here.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm a fish. I love water. I used to I used to swim the WMCA, YWMCA
Nice.
here in Detroit. I was on that little team as a little tot.
Good.
And the water can be your friend, but you just have to learn it and understand it, and we can prevent all of these unnecessary drownings of Black folks because we're scared of the water.
Absolutely, and you can get your hair did after you get out the pool.
Let me tell you what, all this new way of
Because you look good all the time. You love the water.
Braiding up your own hair
Okay.
and using somebody else's.
Go get
you
your
have
hair
no
did
problem
and
going
everything.
swimming.
Okay, okay.
All right, let's move on here. Former NBA star Dwayne Wade request to legally change his transgender daughter's gender and name has been granted by a Los Angeles County judge.
Yeah, let's talk about this. This is his daughter right there. Zion Wade is now legally known as Zaya. Now, this first came out as she first came out as transgender in February 2020. Wade's ex-wife has accused him of using his celebrity to profit off their child. Wow. To which he responded that the petition is about allowing Zaya to live her own life with confidence and joy. Now, Wade also released a statement on Instagram on which he addressed the allegations against him. Now, they were very, what do you call it? They won an award at the Image Awards, NAACP Image Awards, and they really had a passionate speech about that.
Very passionate.
The LGBTQ Black community, if you look at the stats on violence against them, on suicide rate, it is shocking.
Yep.
And
violence against transgender,
and even the Black community's acceptance of transgender is something that is a work in progress.
Yeah, it's a little checkered.
So I commend them on stepping up and saying anything at all and supporting. You got to support your child.
You know, for me, having spent some time in Chicago and remembering Dwayne Wade and that track, I really, it's unfortunate that him and the ex-wife are so at odds.
Yeah.
I remember them being a strong family unit. Dwayne Wade had some homeless issues. Her family took him in. He was on her couch, and they were just really their strong unit. And I know things don't work out, you know, but you have kids, and I just hate that they're on such opposite sides, you know, of the spectrum. But you know, the needs of those children, you know, should be first and foremost. And it's good to see that, you know, Dwayne Wade's daughter is getting what she's asked for.
Yeah, he's famous. They were
Whether you agree with it or not.
They were going to talk about her and him anyway because he's a famous person.
That's
so
right.
Is he getting out in front of it? Yes, but for good reason.
Yeah, I
My
agree.
opinion.
All righty. R&B singer India Arie, one of my faves, her music is back on Spotify after she pulled it. You might remember back in 2022 due to Joe Rogan's COVID misinformation and problematic language. That's a nice way to put it, around race. Arie stated that she wanted Rogan and Spotify to take accountability and see systemic change in the music industry. And after what she deemed a successful protest, her catalog is now available again. Spotify changed its terms and conditions and removed 70 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. In response, Ari says there's still work to be done to ensure fair pay for artists and address those who criticized her decision, stating she stood up for herself and it worked. And I think it's safe to say that, you get a couple of coins when your music is on Spotify.
Yes.
So that might have been a determining factor. Once she felt that situation had been satisfied, let's get back on this rotation.
Let's get back to work.
Download list so we can, live.
Yeah, make amends. She stood her point, made her point. And then, let's get back in the mix. I have the utmost respect for her saying anything at all.
I do too. And to pull your whole catalog.
And taking action behind the words.
That was fearless.
Yes.
That was very fearless.
Because you don't know when the next payday's coming.
That's right. No
matter who it is.
There's still more Black Report to come after the break. Endorsement history in the making. Yeah,
we'll introduce you to the teen that signed with Jordan Brand.
Ooh-wee.
That's next. Oh, let's talk about some Black excellence indeed, and talk about point guard Kiyomi McMillan. Now, she signed the first high school deal with the Jordan Brand.
Man, listen, so naysayers call her a ball hog and said she was doing too much on the court, but her hard work is leading her straight to the top. The Silver Spring, Maryland native credits her parents for her talents on the court, as they are both former college basketball coaches.
Yeah, McMillan says it's a dream come true with the brand that stands for the same passion that she has. For the game, and says looks forward to encouraging basketball players to use their creativity for their platform, for their purpose. McMillan is number 6 recruit for the class of 2024, has been named the best ball handler by ESPN. So congratulations.
That is an amazing feat. And listen, no matter what their financial background has been, whether there's a bit of a struggle or they come from a stable home, give them their money. That's all I have to say.
And those NIL deals are amazing to me. I think, this is just my opinion, athletes have been giving blood, sweat, tears, their life to these games and not making that money, and other people have. It's about that time.
Yeah, and I hate the other generations like Argent who missed out on
it.
Could you imagine where that might have put them?
And some athletes that got hurt in college never saw anything.
Never.
Yeah, it's tough.
Lee Thomas, you are the man. You'll be back with us tomorrow?
I will. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm excited. We're happy to have you here. I'm Courtney Hicks.
I'm Lee Thomas. Thank you for joining us on FOXSOUL's Black Report. See you tomorrow.
What?
Tomorrow?